This is the Horror Movie Show on hmpod.com, hosted by Jerry and Mark, your one-stop shop for all horrible movie reviews. From the latest blockbusters and independent films to classics, let Mark and Jerry convince you the world is a dangerous place, though often good for a laugh. Now come and listen to the Horror Movie Show, if you dare.
Howdy folks, Jerry here.
And Mark.
Bringing you another episode of the Horror Movie Show on hmpod.com.
What else?
Where else? We're everywhere. We are everywhere, man.
We're on the Crypt.
We're on
iTunes?
iTunes, good Lord, yes.
We love it all.
Burner, Pod Feed, whatever the hell those things are called. We are everywhere, and we are so happy to be there.
Although I think iTunes is the Satan spawn, but that's besides the point.
Yeah. Windows.
We belong there then.
Windows scum. Can't get the Crypt on Windows, you know.
No?
No, Android, no, they're still not out. Maybe by the time this show airs, they will be. I hope so. So, we got some new movies, we got some old movies. We got a couple of real oldies, and we got a couple of real newies. Is that a word? Newie?
Yes, I don't know.
There we go. Well, we're going to start by talking about Frankenstein.
Comma.
Yes. Yes, that's right. Could you hear the comma?
Yeah.
So written and directed by Stuart Beattie. It stars Aaron Eckhart as Adam, the monster, Yvonne Strahovski as Tara, Miranda Otto as Leonore, Bill Nighy as Nibirius, Jai Courtney as Gideon, and Socrates Otto as Zuriel. If those names sound pretentious, it's because this movie is extremely pretentious.
I know you didn't like it very much.
Right off the bat, I thought this was a stinker. What did you think of it?
I enjoyed it for what it is. I mean, I'm not
very good movie?
No, it's just for pure escapism.
Now,
pure escapism.
This was based on a comic book, I'm sure.
It is a graphic novel, yes.
Graphic novel. Well, it's just another mediocre horror movie. And, I'm just so tired of this modern craze for making these scary monsters into heroes. Now here's the creature, the murderous creature, and even admits to killing the original
Frankenstein's wife.
Yeah, his wife and Frankenstein himself.
Well, no, he doesn't kill him.
Yeah, he wanted to, but he was already frozen to death.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, I mean, he killed him.
He buried him.
Anyway, I've never been a big fan of Aaron Eckhart.
I like him.
He looks too much like this guy who used to beat me up in school.
And I don't blame him.
Yeah. You know, and you'd think the university authorities would stop something like that.
You're like a Pillsbury Doughboy. People just want to hit you.
But yeah, and I giggle. I have that little giggle when they punch me in the stomach. I Frankenstein. Miranda Otto plays Leonore. She's the head. Here's the stupid thing. The stupidest thing about this stupid movie.
One of the stupidest.
The idea is that there is an ongoing secret war that human beings don't know about between vampires and gargoyles.
You betcha.
And the gargoyles, for some reason, are the good guys.
Well, that's because you find them on churches and things like that. They're protecting the church.
So stupid.
And why is it that saints always have to look so nice? I mean, gargoyles are hideous creatures, but they look nice. They do nice things. So why not? Why not? Why do all hideous things have to be evil?
I just hated this movie.
It makes so much sense to me.
And the vampire. I mean,
we aren't no vampires in this. And
or was
Bill
it
Nighy,
demons? Or was it demons?
I think they're demons.
Yeah, that's right. It's not vampires. It's demons versus... I'm getting Bill Nighy mixed up because he's played vampires in other movies.
Although they do have the teeth kind of thing.
Yeah, okay. It's demons versus gargoyles, right? Okay. See, it's so stupid. I can't even keep these things straight as they try to rewrite the basic premise of these characters. So Miranda Otto plays the queen of the gargoyles, and they're supposed to be the good guys. And all she does is lie. She just lies to the monster from beginning to end. And he says, all right, obviously I got to come down on your side of things because the demons are completely and utterly evil. Mm-hmm. Can I trust you now? And she says, yes, you can. And as soon as his back is turned, she's like, kill him the first chance you get. It's so awful.
Because they don't know if they can trust him. He is a blasphemous creature.
Yeah.
You know, brought back from the dead.
They're gargoyles. How holy are they?
And the whole thing about this movie is they really don't go too heavily on how he was created.
Yeah.
This is all after the fact.
Yeah.
And
200 years after the... Yeah, the movie takes place today. He was created 200 years ago.
Yeah, but it starts off 200 years ago when he's running through that...
Yes.
Through the...
I wish they'd stuck with that. But this ridiculous notion... And also, did you notice there's no humans around?
Yes.
They're having these monstrous battles. Buildings are toppling.
I know.
Cars are being picked up and hurled across city blocks.
I don't think
there isn't a human being to be seen except for, like, the one that Adam is protecting.
Yeah.
It's the stupidest movie I've seen in a long time.
I thought that was kind of odd.
Oh, it's not odd.
It's like,
it's
we're
stupid. There isn't a security guard walking around.
Where are we in? Are we in London or something?
I think it's supposed to be like New York.
Oh, maybe.
Yeah, it's in the States.
Is it in the States?
Oh, everything's in the States, man.
Because why would they be in the States? Frankenstein was never in the States.
Oh, God, Mark, really? You're right. That isn't logical. No, I'm sure it all takes place in
thought
the
it was
because
London.
that's where it's happening, man.
I thought it was London.
No, I don't.
Because this cathedral or wherever the gargoyles hang out was in the middle of nowhere at the beginning of the movie, but by the time 200 years later, it's in the middle of a big city.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Very odd. I mean, it doesn't make sense. It's all eye candy and fluff. That's all it is.
You know, I give it credit. It's nowhere near as boring as Van Helsing was.
Yeah.
And they remind me a lot of each other.
I liked Van Helsing.
Van Helsing had a better look to it. It had...
a grittier look.
Yeah, and also it was set in, like, Romania or Transylvania.
Yeah.
Some, hideous part of the dark side of the Balkans. But this movie doesn't get the look right, but it has that same stupidity. It has that same ridiculous notion to it. Let's rewrite the basic legend of these creatures.
Yeah.
It just made me angry, in case you can't tell. So, the acting, I'll tell you one thing about the Queen of the Gargoyles, Miranda Otto. Now, I only know her from the second and third Lord of the Rings movies. And she plays the niece of the king who is under the
Theoden.
Evil spell.
King Theoden.
Yes, and she's a shield maid of whatever the hell.
And she has a hot for Aragorn.
That's right, yes, for the king. Anyway, in this movie, boy, I have to say, for a youngish woman, I'd never seen such a frumpy... dumpy looking. She looks like Queen Victoria. She looks like this old lady. Well, yeah, but she's supposed to be young and beautiful, but she's absolutely
You see,
sexless.
the gargoyles can change forms.
Yeah.
They can go into their gargoyle form where they can fly and they're super strong, and then they have their more human look, and they look all pretty.
Yeah.
So do the demons. So
yeah, I know. So somehow the gargoyles are supposed to be like angels. They can fly. They can do this.
They're sitting on this cathedral, sort of keeping the demons down.
That's their job
in the underworld.
Yeah.
That's their job.
Right.
And Frankenstein kind of puts a wrench in the workings because they don't know where he's going to...
The demons want Frankenstein's monster. They want Adam or the notebook from Dr. Frankenstein, because what the demons want to do, what Bill Nighy as head of the demons, his big plan is he's got all these dead bodies and he's got them all hooked up to, I don't know, demon tubes or something. and what he wants is the formula to bring these dead bodies back to life, because demons can only, and this is stupid, this goes against all the mythos as well, demons can only possess a body that has no soul.
Yeah.
Well, excuse me, what about every single exorcism movie in the world where people are possessed by demons? This movie decides to come along and change all the rules because it suits the stupid comic book illustrator. Give me a break. This is just obnoxious.
Hey,
there are rules to these things, and you got to stick to them.
No, that's not true. I mean, you should be able to create your own universe and have your own rules.
Well, if you're going to take Frankenstein's monster, if you're going to steal that character simply because it's out of copyright, and then you're going to change everything around, no, there are rules, and you have to stick to them.
Well,
Otherwise, it's complete chaos.
Well, they do the same thing with Van Helsing. And
exactly. Another stinker.
Right.
Another terrible stinker.
They change the rules on all sorts. Hansel and Gretel changed the rules.
Mark, tell me a good movie where they changed the rules. There hasn't been one. And Van Helsing, Hansel and Gretel. These are stinkers. These are movies.
Although I did rewatch Hansel and Gretel in 3D, and it looks great.
Oh, looks. Yeah. This movie had some good-looking scenes in it, but I can't enjoy a movie simply because it looks good. Not unless I'm heavily sedated.
Yes, you take a few pills and slug down a few brewskis, and these things start looking great.
You haven't been providing me with the proper drugs. That's the problem. All right, enough of that piece of trash. Let's get on to a good movie, which a lot of people are going to say, but that's not a horror movie. I disagree. In the same way that Taxi Driver is a horror movie in that it's about one person's descent into total madness, Woody Allen's new movie, Blue Jasmine, is also a story of one person's descent into total madness.
This is true.
I thought it was really scary.
It's loosely based on a streetcar named Desire.
It starts that way. It's very, very similar to that.
She's very much like Blanche Dubois.
Yes, and funny, her name is Cate Blanchett, and she just won the Oscar for this performance, and rightfully so. So written and directed by Woody Allen. You may have heard of him. Cate Blanchett stars as Jasmine. Alec Baldwin plays her husband Hal. Sally Hawkins plays her sister Ginger. And Andrew Dice Clay plays Augie, who is the sister Ginger's husband and then ex-husband. And they've broken up partly because Jasmine's husband Hal stole their lottery winnings. Oh, Andrew Dice Clay, you know. Hey, oh.
Yeah, he in his heyday, he was this greaser kind of
comedian.
Very raw mouth on the guy.
Yeah. The story, as Mark says, it starts off very much like, I have always relied on the kindness of strangers. And Jasmine, not her real name, the name that she's chosen for herself, Jasmine, everything about her is phony.
Yep.
And she's still coasting on the fact that she was married to Hal, who turns out was a horrible, horrible crook.
And he's played by?
He was an investment banker. As I say, Alec Baldwin, doing his usual excellent job. He got busted and went to prison and killed himself, and that has left Jasmine absolutely broke and humiliated, and having to go and live with her sister and actually has to take a job.
Yeah.
It's one humiliation after another. And of course, she could live a perfectly normal, happy life, but she thinks she's too good, and it is just her descent ultimately to street person. Really.
Yeah.
It's like one woman's tragedy.
She belittles everybody around her.
Yeah.
And she doesn't know she's doing, I don't think.
I don't think she can help it.
No.
She's such a big phony baloney. She lies to herself
her
most
sister
of all.
and her were raised in the same family.
Yeah.
They are so different from one another.
Yeah.
One is basically...
They were both adopted, but raised as sisters in this one family.
And she went off and married a successful businessman.
Jasmine did.
Yep.
Yeah.
And her sister didn't get married.
Stayed working class.
And she has 2 kids with, I guess, her previous husband.
Yeah, she was married to Augie. Yeah,
that's right,
yeah,
right.
They were married to Augie, yeah.
And then now she's dating that other guy.
Yeah.
To me, he was the only honest guy.
Well, he's a perfectly nice guy.
He's
but
a nice...
Jasmine sees him as like
low life
Stanley in Streetcar Named Desire, and the other guy is just like, why is she so miserable and hateful, and why is she such a phony? And why is she trying to break us up all the time? And because Jasmine cannot stand to see her sister having even the smallest amount of happiness.
Yeah.
Not when she herself is miserable.
Found that very interesting, her character and how she related to everyone around her.
Yeah.
And the fact that everybody just said, your husband is a thief.
Yes.
He was a crook.
Yeah.
And that's all they have to say to her.
Everybody was hurt by him, and they can't believe that she didn't know. And she did know a little bit, but she denied it. She denies it to herself. Mm-hmm. She denied it at the time. She just took these millions of dollars that were rolling in of other people's money. Oh, it's just awful. It would be a good double bill with The Wolf of Wall Street. And in both situations, you don't get rich taking advantage of the rich. You get rich taking advantage of poor people. That's the real sin. That's the real misery caused, because Augie and the sister Ginger, they've won a couple of $100,000 on the lottery, and this is their chance.
Yes.
This is their... Augie wants to start a business. They're going to get themselves out of the hole. Everything's going to be better for them.
Yeah.
And Jasmine says, oh, let's get Hal involved. Hal will take that money and make it work for you. And of course, Hal just steals it and ruins their lives.
I don't think he, on purpose to steal their money. I just think that everything
he does,
he would have made them money, I'm sure. But he got caught,
Yeah.
and everything went down the toilet all at once.
And it isn't so much he got caught.
We're not going to go there.
Yeah.
So there's some twists in the movie as we go, and it's interesting how Jasmine is so adamant about digging her way out of her problem, and by finding another man to leech onto, because she knows that she won't make it on her own.
Yeah.
She knows that she needs somebody else with
and
money.
that's just it. It isn't that she knows that, it's that she believes that, because she could make it on her own. She goes and she's working as a receptionist for a dentist. And, he's a bit of a dweeb, but he seems a perfectly nice guy.
Yeah.
And where does Louis C.K. come in?
He was dating her sister.
That's right.
They meet at a party.
That's
and
right.
he seems like a real nice guy.
Yeah. He's also a scumbag.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's like...
a lot of scumbags in this movie.
Now, I remember at Academy Awards, everyone's going, oh, thanks, Woody Allen. Yes, his movies can make money.
Right.
And I just thought, well, geez, is he that bad? Has none of his movies made money lately?
They pay for themselves. He hasn't made a big money movie in a long time.
Well, this one has made some money, which means it made more than it's worth.
Yes, that's right.
What they spent.
Yeah. In Hollywood, or whatever in the industry, a movie is considered successful if it pays for itself. If it makes money, that's a hit. Otherwise, 3 strikes and you're out.
He has some loyal followers that keep bankrolling his movie.
Well, that's it. He returns on the investment. He gets the money back again that they've put into it, and probably a bit more. And of course, his movies, money continues to dribble in.
So this is not a comedy.
But no, it has, especially with like Louis C.K., who's a great comedian. It has its comic moments.
I thought he played it very straight.
He does. But I think that's part of the humor, is that he does play it so straight because it's Louis C.K. And I thought he's sort of, with his red hair and insecurity.
What does that mean? It's funny because he's not funny.
Well, because when we find out what kind of a guy he is, everything that he's done up to that point is an act.
It's sad. It's not funny.
Oh, I thought it was funny. I was chuckling. This movie made me laugh several times.
Well, it had
it's got black comedy in it.
Not a lot.
No, that's what I'm saying, Mark. But now and then, and you get a comedian like Louis C.K. to come in and play what is essentially a role that Woody Allen could have played. I thought he was very funny in it.
I didn't think he was funny. I thought he looked like a really nice guy, doing the right thing.
Yeah, turns out he's a weasel.
And I thought it was sad. I thought it was sad.
Oh, well, see, I
was feeling for the woman in there.
I even find Jasmine's character, Cate Blanchett's, to be well-rounded enough that she's funny at certain times, too.
Her life is so out there that she's not in reality.
Yeah.
She's completely out of reality. So she says things that are quite funny because she is so out of it.
Yeah, she's crazy.
In that respect, yes, it's a black comedy kind of like for that.
Well, see, to me, the reason that this is a really good movie, I won't say great yet, but an excellent choice for an evening's viewing, is that it is well-rounded. It has funny moments. It has serious moments. It's mostly a serious movie. And it has, a great character study. But overall, there seem to be two kinds of people in this movie, in the world presented in Blue Jasmine. They're either being taken advantage of, or they're taking advantage.
Right.
We think that Louis C.K.'s character, for example, is a nice guy. Turns out we're all wrong. Well, that's a big joke on us. You can either laugh at that, or you can weep. And I thought the way he played it, sort of like, golly gosh, what can I do for you? Yeah, I thought that was funny. Yeah, so good movie. I thought everybody does a good job. The way that Jasmine's character near the end when she meets that young fellow Skarsgård, they meet at a party and he thinks, wow, she's perfect. And she thinks, here's my ticket out of this mess. I just have to get him to marry me and, I'm set for life again. But in order to get him interested, she just lies and lies and lies and lies. Amazing. Trixie and I are watching this movie and we were laughing because how does she think she can get away with this? And of course, you don't realize, but yeah, she's well on her way to complete and utter insanity.
Yeah.
And that's the only reason that she acts this way is that she's not dealing with a full deck. Mm-hmm. She's got about 3 cards left and she's burning them.
And there's no way back.
Oh, no.
There's no way back. If this doesn't work.
No, and how could it work? It could never work. And only she's nuts enough to think that it might work.
It could have worked.
That they could go, even a few months and the whistle wouldn't be blown on her, and the fact that she was married to a crook and so on and so on and so on, that everybody hates her. And it's tragic and it's ridiculous so that, we were laughing at it. But at the same time, you ache for her because she's so self-deluded.
That's where we get the horror from, that she is.
Well, it's a descent into madness.
Yeah.
It's like Taxi Driver. It's like the movie Polanski made with Catherine Deneuve. Repulsion. You watch somebody getting crazier and crazier. And it's fascinating. It's watching a slow-motion car wreck. But at the same time, it's an awful thing because people go crazy all the time. You hear about the ones who take rifles into post office where they work, but lots of people go nuts and fall through the cracks and are never heard from again. Okay, well, let's get on to a cheerier movie. 1986's Rawhead Rex, written by Clive Barker. I believe this was his first movie. Directed by George Pavlou, stars David Dukes as Howard Hallenbeck. Kelly Piper plays his wife Elaine. Neil Toybin plays the Reverend Coote. That's a subtle name for a reverend. Ronan Wilmot plays Declan O'Brien, another crazy churchman. And Heinrich von Schellendorf plays Rawhead Rex.
Because he's tall.
Yeah, he's a big guy.
Big guy. He's a very big guy.
Yeah.
Well, the special effects in this movie were basically rubber suits and, just...
What's it about?
An American couple and their kids are touring Ireland looking for the myths behind the stories, the legends, and things like. He's a writer. It just so happens they're in this vicinity where this old farmer is trying to get this big stone out of his field.
Like a massive obelisk.
Yeah, I don't even know why the government would let him touch the thing because obviously it's from ancient whatever, and it's this huge pillar in the middle of his field, and they're sitting there with a tractor and they've dug around and they're trying to knock it down, and the guy with the tractor says, "I gotta go," and he leaves, and somehow the guy manages to pull the stone over, and underneath is this creature.
I think they've managed to dislodge it just enough so that Rawhead pushes it over the rest of the way, and he jumps out and starts his killing.
Yes. Now, and he looks like a giant Sasquatch with this big mouth with lots of red teeth.
Yeah.
It's just like a circular mouth, almost, I don't know.
A hideous-looking monster, anyway.
And he looks like a guy in a gorilla suit.
Yeah.
Off this guy goes, and he's rampaging through this small village, coming upon houses and killing people when he can find them.
Off. Yeah.
And it's all about this American who has a suspicion of what it is. Police think it's a lunatic running around in the forest. And he finds a stained glass window in this cathedral.
Little church, a little tiny village church.
It depicts somebody defeating this demon at some past
It has a magic
thing.
They have a magic stone that defeats the demon.
Anyhow, the pastor of this church gets possessed.
All right, you're mixing it up. The reverend at the church, he gets killed. It's his assistant, the verger, who is a demon worshiper. And so he's on the side of Rawhead Rex. He wants to help Rex
But
in his evil rampage.
It seems that he gets possessed when he puts his hand over the altar of this thing and goes and burns his hand or whatever.
Yeah, but he was already on the side. You get the idea. He's been working the whole time, waiting for the day that Rawhead would come back, and now he's ready. The sign that it is imminent is when the altar stone burns his hand. That's just like, okay, it's end times. Now the demon is coming back.
He goes a little nuts.
Oh, yeah, he's very nuts.
It's like
he's hostile, and he's got
giggling
Tourette's.
and cackling.
And he's got Tourette's syndrome because he's constantly cussing and swearing at the American, which is kind of funny. Yeah.
The American couple, their son ends up getting abducted by the monster.
Well, eaten.
Yeah, I guess that's what you call it.
He's eaten, yeah.
So he's really pissed with the local police because they don't believe that he saw him previously in the forest.
Yeah.
And he was saying, no, this isn't a lunatic. It's some sort of creature.
Yeah.
And the police kept saying, go away, American. You're just an American. What do you know? So
it's written a little better than that, but
when good old Rawhead Rex terrorizes a trailer park where a lot of people saw him and makes holes in trailers and grabs people out of them and things like that.
Pulling people out of windows, eating their faces off.
Yeah.
Good times.
All good fun.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's the pursuit of Rawhead Rex at that point by the police and everybody in the vicinity.
But ultimately, it comes down to the American, the expert on these local myths, has found this stone in the church. He's found the stone that will defeat Rawhead Rex, but he can't wield it. It turns out that only a woman can wield it, so his wife saves the day.
Okay, so you tell him the end.
Well,
give it
it's that 1986 movie. If people want to see it, I don't think they're watching it because it's a great movie, because it isn't.
It is your classic horror 80s movie.
Bad movie.
As all movies in the 80s.
No, that's a silly thing to say, Mark. Last week we were talking about American Werewolf in London. That's a terrific movie from the 80s. That
just made it into the 80s.
Twilight Zone? That's a good movie.
It was in pre-production in the 70s, I'm sure. Anyway, this is a romp in Ireland. Special effects are
terrible.
Are non-existent.
Well, everything is drawn on the film. You can tell, like the bolts of
lightning, whatever
of goodness coming out of the demon-defeating stone have all been drawn onto a film at some point by someone with a shaky pen. It's really cheesily done. So, speaking of cheese, the next movie is even cheesier. It's really not a horror movie, except that it has dinosaurs in it, man-eating dinosaurs. 1981, Caveman, directed by Carl Gottlieb, written by Gottlieb and Rudy DeLuca. It stars Ringo Starr as Atuk, Dennis Quaid, a very young Dennis Quaid as Lar, Shelley Long as Tala, Jack Gilford as Gog, John Matuzak, a big football player, as Tonda, and Barbara Bach as Lana, who Barbara Bach and Ringo met on the set of this movie.
Exactly.
They're still married. And the often terrific comedian Avery Schreiber plays Ock. So there's
a lot of good character actors.
There are a lot of good actors. I'm not sure I'd include Ringo in that, but
I like this movie.
Yeah, so you said that when I said let's watch that because I'd never seen it. I'm a big Beatles fan.
You've never seen it?
I'd never seen it.
Every single scene has a funny thing in it.
Boy, I so disagree. Watching this movie is like watching a 90-minute episode of Gilligan's Island.
Yeah, with Dinorama.
That's not a good thing.
With dinosaurs. With dinosaurs.
The best thing about it is the dinosaurs. Yes, yeah. with their rolling eyes and their little the T-Rex, the big fat T-Rex with his little ineffectual hands waving around. And there's one that we keep seeing, which is like a giant chameleon. And its eyes are on each side of its head, and they move independently.
Yeah,
it's very funny. I did enjoy that. It has its charm, this movie, but it is also about as stupid a movie as I've seen in a long time.
It opens up with a caption: 1 zillion BC, right. October the 9th.
Yes, stolen, I must say, from Monty Python and the Holy Grail, and then also Meaning of Life.
Yes, but October 9th was John Lennon's birthday.
Yes, it was. Yeah.
So that's why it was there.
Yes, so they say.
This is the first movie for Shelley Long. and her long, prosperous
career
as a movie star after Cheers.
Yeah, well, I just watched the Brady Bunch movie, and she's very funny in that, and the Very Brady sequel.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, oh, yeah. Have you not seen
Why
that?
would you watch those things?
Because it's funny. It is.
Really?
It's mocking the old Brady Bunch, yeah.
I can't say that I've ever watched
the first one just parodies incidents from the Brady Bunch TV series, but the second one has a significant plot running through it in which Greg and Marcia have the hots for each other. Their parents at one point decide that the two oldest kids should get their own room together. And it's like, stripper music and... Yeah, incest is such a laugh riot.
So this movie is all about Ringo Starr trying to get in with Barbara Bach.
Yes, he's got the hots for Barbara Bach.
And Tonga will have none of this.
Yes, Tonga is the leader of their little tribe, and he kicks Ringo and Dennis Quaid out of the tribe, and they rescue Shelley Long's, I don't know if it's her dad or her grandpa, the old comedian Jack Gilford. They rescue him from a tar pit. He's blind. Then it's Ringo and Quaid and Shelley and Jack on their own, and they slowly pick up more and more losers along the way.
Yeah, and they learn
until they can challenge Tonga.
Yes, they learn how to use fire.
Right.
They learn how to straighten their backs.
Yeah, yes. Yeah, the reason everybody walks around like a caveman is they need a chiropractor.
Yeah. They learn how to drug things.
That's right. Yes,
and they have tame the dinosaurs.
They have a plant that is, if it isn't marijuana, it's the next best thing.
Yeah.
But you get high from the berries that grow on this rather than the grass itself.
Yeah.
And it's pretty. I agree. It's a comedy, and it does have some funny moments. But it's just one huge block of cheese.
It's silly.
Yeah.
It's what it is. But I enjoy watching it because it is silly. It's a silly movie.
Good monsters.
I like the dinorama. Yeah. I like the fact that, there's Jack Gilford right in front of the T-Rex. And it's feeling his lower part of his belly, and the dinosaur is going, "What's that?"
Yeah.
He can't see him because he's right below him.
Yeah.
That was funny.
Yeah, the dinosaurs are not smart. Yeah. Okay. Well, so for those who can't get enough Shelley Long,
or Ringo Starr,
Ringo Starr, yeah,
who's on tour with Todd Rundgren.
Yes, that's right. Yeah, I love the Beatles, but I have to say Ringo's done better work than Caveman.
Not much better.
Not much better, no. Our next movie is one that was recommended to us by the good folks, our friends at Broken Glass Pictures. Hey, Justin. Scream Park, a 2012 movie written and directed by Cary Hill. Stars Nicole Beatty as Missy, Doug Bradley as Mr. Hyde. That's always a better name than he deserves. The extremely well-built Kaylee Murray Harris as Carly, Dean Jacobs as Tony, Tyler Cale as Rhodey, and Ian Lemon as Ogre, one of the maniacs, I believe. So the idea here is that it's an amusement park that has seen much better days. It's going downhill.
And its theme is terror.
Well,
they have a lot of terror rides in it.
They do. They have their haunted house,
and they have everything.
But it's it's an amusement park. They have the standard games and so on, and rides, merry-go-round, that sort of thing. But the owner, Mr. Hyde, has decided that the only way to save the park is for something absolutely hideous to happen.
Now, we don't find that out till quite near the end of the movie.
Well, maybe halfway through.
No, it's
but anyway, the whole first half of the movie is very slow. It's a lot of setting up of who these characters are. Way too much time is spent doing that.
Well, as far as
they should have got into the killing much quicker.
It looked like some guys got together with camcorders and filmed this thing and put it together. the sound, I was...
Oh, it's awful. Yeah.
Because I was listening to it in headphones, and I was wondering if it was really as bad when you didn't.
It's really bad.
Because you can hear the background going up and down, and depending on what angle you are, you can see that the sound technician didn't know what they were doing. Or hear what they were doing.
Yeah.
It was just terrible. And cuts.
Yeah.
You know, you'd have dead air, and then
random.
There'd be sound.
Yeah.
Oh, it was just terrible.
And did you notice the light level within a scene?
Yeah.
It would suddenly, everything would get brighter and everything would get darker. It was like amateur hour.
It was
really was
poor projection.
I'm assuming that this is a first movie for writer director Cary Hill, and I really hope you get better, Cary, because this is not a good movie. If you want to see a bunch of beautiful women, especially Kaylee Marie Harris, who does what her Facebook page, it's called specialty modeling.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, I think like fetish modeling, something like that. I mean, she's not a skinny little girl. She's
buxom.
Enormous buxom figure, yeah, and she shows it off to great effect in this movie.
So you're like Elvira.
Probably I mean, she is actually topless at one point in the movie.
Yeah.
So, if that's enough to make you rent this movie, then, thank you, Carly.
I found that the storyline was non-existent almost.
It's terrible.
It's a terrible storyline. It had no purpose. This movie had no purpose whatsoever other than two guys going around killing people.
Yeah.
And that's the only purpose.
Yeah.
I mean, and then you find out, why they're there. Big twist. It wasn't that big of a stretch.
And the guy who plays the owner of the park, who plays Mr. Hyde, Doug Bradley,
one scene.
It's one small scene, and he overacts. He chews up his desk, the chair he's sitting on. He chews the chair of the other guy. Everything is chewed up by this guy. Ultimately, he's the only name actor they've got. He was in a couple of other movies or something, but in small parts, and he does not make this movie any better.
No.
It is not a good movie.
Throughout the whole thing, I mean, I just found that there was no game plan by these people.
No.
All the people that are in the movie worked at the park.
Yeah.
And this is the last day of the park, and they're closing it down for good. So they decide to have a sort of a party.
Impromptu, they decide to get, one of the girls gets her punky boyfriend to pick them up some booze. And now this guy has to use fake ID and menace to get the beer and a couple of bottles of hooch. And I'm sorry, but he looks like he's 30 years old.
Yeah.
I don't know why he would need ID anyway. They're all supposed to be playing teenagers, and they all look to be 30 at least. There isn't a single person in the movie who looks young.
They're not in their teens, that's for sure.
No, they're supposed to be high school kids.
Yeah.
And all of them look like they're 30 years old to me.
Anyway, to me it was like 20s, well into their 20s.
Yeah. 10 years into their 20s,
I just kept going, well, what? You don't feel for these people because there's no strategy, there's no camaraderie, there's nothing. There's nothing in this movie.
If the big plot was to murder these workers there and get some notoriety and public relations happening and word of mouth and newspaper coverage, if that was the plot, well then the fact that these kids decide at the spur of the moment that they're going to stay.
Yeah.
Then, it wasn't much of a plan.
No. I mean, it was like...
just random.
Yes. And
the killers were just hoping that they'd hang around.
And the fact that they want to murder all the kids.
Yeah.
You want some people hanging around to tell the story, if you want notoriety, right? So, I mean, it's like, it just made no sense. This movie was just poorly planned, poorly shot, poorly produced. Everything about it was just bad.
Yeah. Kaylee Marie Harris. That's the reason to watch this movie.
I wish it was better, but it isn't.
It isn't, no. Last one we're going to be talking about this week, it's a short. It's called I Am Monster from last year. Written and directed by Laurie Bowen and Shannon Lark. It stars Shannon Lark as Vivian. Good name, Vivian. Jeff Dylan Graham plays Paul, who is like a mortuary worker. Adam Cardon plays Jason, and Courtney Sandifer plays the first corpse who was abused. Now, the reason that we got contacted by Laurie Bowen one of the writer-directors, is that she saw a plug I had made for our show about necrophilia on one of the Facebook horror pages, and she dropped me a note saying, you know, we got a little movie that would have been perfect for this particular show you guys
and
did.
you know, it would have been.
And it would have been.
Yes.
And so we're covering it now. It's just, I don't know, about 15 minutes long and very competently made. The idea is Shannon Lark's character, Vivian, has a thing for dead people. Male, female, doesn't seem to matter to her.
Yeah.
I guess as long as the corpses are somewhat attractive. And luckily she lives in a city where attractive corpses turn up.
Yeah.
And she's got this guy, Paul, who she pays a few bucks to, and he lets her into the mortuary.
And lets her be for 20 minutes or so.
She does these terrible, mutilating
my
things to
God.
the bodies. And nobody's going to complain about this afterward.
She's got this double-edged dildo of some sort that looks like spikes on one end and a round end on the other end, and she shoves this thing deeply into this cadaver.
Female corpse.
And when she pulls it out, there are pieces
horrible.
of flesh all over it. It's very well done.
It's very, very gruesome. Gruesome.
It is a very stylized piece.
Yeah.
It is produced very well.
It is. You know, for those that care about such things, not me, but those who do, there's lots of good-looking women in it. I would look forward to a feature-length movie by these two gals.
Yes.
Fun-loving women that they are.
Yeah, but I just think it's funny because I'm reading the credits, and right at the beginning is, "Thank you, Mom, Dad." Yeah. And I'm going, what? Mom and Dad let you do this? It is disgusting.
I don't know that Dad wants to see it.
This is pure horror.
It is.
Oh, it is so brutal. And I'm going, Mom and Dad?
Yeah. But, you know, okay, now that's the first half of the movie. The second half gets a little more into Vivian's insanity.
Psyche, yes.
Yeah. She has a lively conversation with the male corpse on the slab.
Yeah.
And it's well done. It is well written. It's well acted. It looks good. So, you know, you compare this to Scream Park.
Yeah.
It's night and day.
Yes.
Absolutely is.
Oh, yeah. It's like professionals against camcorder shot.
Yeah, absolutely.
Shot
Amateurs.
Movie. Kudos to them. I'm sure it cost a heck of a lot more than that.
Yeah, the Scream Park. Yeah, I know. And that includes the rental on the entire amusement park for the one night it took to shoot their movie. I Am Monster, it's surprisingly good. I don't know where you see short films these days. You know, it's a shame. It should be included on a DVD release or something. Perhaps it'll be included in their...
I noticed it didn't get nominated for an Oscar.
No. Perhaps it was too late for the Oscars.
But you know, when you look at all those shorts, I mean, it could have slipped in there.
It's a extremely competently and well-made film. Okay, well, I think that's it, folks. So, Frankenstein, Mark liked it more than I did, but would you recommend it?
It's actually good for younger kids, I think. I mean, to me, it's like your Twilight.
You're talking like pre-verbal children, like 1-year-olds?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. The ones that don't know what's going on. I think it's
children you don't like.
It's a comic. It's a comic that is not taken seriously whatsoever.
There's better comic.
To me, if you want to pick it apart, you can pick it apart to the nth degree, but it looks good, and it's got fight scenes and what the hell. I mean, for escapism, it's okay.
All right, Mark liked it a lot more than I did. I would burn all copies.
Come on.
Pile them into an old windmill and set fire to it. That's what I would say. Blue Jasmine, excellent movie.
I hated this movie.
Yeah. Okay, we both like that one. Rawhead Rex, 1986, fun old movie. And if you're a Clive Barker completist, you've got to see it.
I'll go with that.
Yeah. Caveman.
A must-see.
A must-see.
A must-see. Yeah. You got to see it. It's funny.
If you're a dinosaur completist, you've got to see it.
A dinorama completist, that's it.
I don't know what you mean by dinorama. What does that mean?
Oh, it's stop-action kind of stuff.
Oh, okay, yeah. Oh, yes, it's like Ray Harryhausen.
Exactly. That's what he coined the phrase, dinorama.
6 months after Ray had died.
It's funny.
Scream Park?
Oh.
Boo.
Don't even bother.
Don't go there. And I Am Monster, if you get a chance to see it, We both recommend that one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's very disturbing.
Not for the kids.
No.
Not for the kids.
And it's slick. It's very, very well done.
Very professionally done. All right, folks, so that's it. We're out of here. So long from Jerry.
And good